Today I'll be talking about using the iPhone XS in 2022. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This phone I've had since July 2019, and this phone has been great. In the 3 years-ish, more than 3 years that I've used the iPhone XS, it has been a great phone. Now, in 2022, I'd say this iPhone is more than capable of doing your day-to-day activities, whether that's calling people, FaceTime, searching the web, millions of tabs open. I don't know if you can see, but I have 234 tabs open in Safari. I don't close things that much. And I always feel like I'll go back to some tab to, look at something. One of my tabs is literally a restaurant. But yeah, more than capable. This phone can do pretty much anything without struggling too much. It's very nice. I mean, I'd say even the screen is pretty fluid. Very slick, very slick. Here, I'm gonna just show you how fast even the Face ID works. And easy peasy. Like, that was probably less than a second. Snappy, it's pretty snappy. All right, now the display. The iPhone XS has a Super Retina HD display with HDR, True Tone, and wide color. Its refresh rate is 60 Hz, and although that doesn't reach the 120 Hz that the newer 14 Pro models have, it's still very gorgeous, and it gets pretty bright. It doesn't reach the 200 nits as the 14 Pros do, but I think in my past few years of using this XS, it's been very nice. And even if I had the 14 Pro series next to the iPhone XS, I still think the XS screen is amazing. And if iPhone XS is this good, anything newer than the XS, so 11, 11 Pro, 12, 12 Pro, 12 Pro Max, etc., they're all great. So this phone, performance-wise, is great. Design. The iPhone XS remains a spectacle of design. The sleek, curved stainless steel edges are very nice, and it marks the end of an era. From the iPhone 6 through the iPhone 11, the edges of the phones have been curved, and the flagship phones from iPhone 12 onwards till date have had the squared off edges. And I do prefer those squared off edges, but the rounded edges of the XS are very easy to hold and very nice to grip. And it doesn't dig into your hand, especially if you have a thicker case on your phone. There's also glass on both the front and the back, and it looks very sleek. You can even see a reflection in the back of the phone, so that is very nice. One thing that's really nice about the iPhone XS is that there's 3D touch. So if you press down on the phone, like on an app, you can access extra settings. In the newer phones afterwards, they don't have that. You just hold down an app for a certain amount of time, but it doesn't address how much pressure you're putting on the app. In terms of actual usage, the only issues with an iPhone XS in 2022 are basically the battery and storage, if you have the 64 gig model, and that's it. That's really it. Nothing else. Well, I suppose the camera. If you're a camera user and you really want a great camera, then yeah. But honestly, I think this 2-lens camera is very sufficient, and even the FaceTime camera is not bad at all. So I wouldn't even call that a downside of having a XS. In terms of battery life, now this battery life is not that good, honestly. I would say it probably lasts like 3-4 hours in one battery charge. I must say, in the phone's defense, my battery life already is, it's 85% again. So that's not that good. At 85%, it's not bad, but keep in mind, this battery has only been in use for 1 year and a few months. So I am a heavy user, as you can tell. And then with my last 10 days, you'll notice that I almost use about 200% of battery usage, which means I charge and use the battery enough to be twice the battery capacity. So that means I'm charging at least twice a day. And as you can see in my average screen on time, I'm using 6 hours and 58 minutes on average per day. And that means 2 charges. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut that in half. About 3 hours and 50 minutes is how long one battery will last you. And if you're out and about, if you have to, be conscious about being conservative with your battery usage. At home, it doesn't matter, but that is one reason why I upgraded to a newer phone. With storage, I would say that is one of the biggest issues using an iPhone XS in 2022. The iPhone XS came out starting with a 64 gigabyte storage option, and that was $1,000 at the time. Now, the $1,000 Pro model iPhone you would have a 128 gigabyte model starting storage. That being said, the iPhone XS with 64 gigabytes, I just think is not enough for anyone who likes taking pictures or taking videos. I love taking pictures. Everywhere I go, I'll take a picture of whatever, like a mountain or a building. And now that I like vlogging, I make videos on my phone. And I'm literally filming this video on an iPhone. So there's a video on that comparing my new phone, which is the 14 Pro Max, to the iPhone XS. If you're taking photos and making videos, even to a limited capacity, I highly recommend getting something more than the base model storage option. Now, if you don't take that many photos, then yeah, go ahead, get the 128 gigabyte model. But for someone like me, if you're using a lot, I would recommend that boost. Now to story time. When considering buying an iPhone, remember longevity. Apple releases iOS updates annually, and eventually older iPhones don't get the updates anymore. Since the XS is 4 years old now, I would guess that the next 2 years will still get updates, but after that, they may not. With longevity, consider the battery life. If you get a used one, you might need to replace the battery sooner. And last year I had an experience of a battery replacement myself. Here's what happened. Now I will say in August 2021, so last year, before I was going off to college at USC, I noticed my battery was not too good, and I thought, okay, before the semester starts, let's make sure we start off the year right with a new battery. I think there was that notification that tells you, hey, replace your battery. So I thought, okay, let's do it. And fun fact, I went to the Apple store here in the Midwest, and they told me they didn't have a battery in stock for the iPhone XS. So I thought, you know what, okay, I'll just go to an Apple store in LA. So I went to an Apple store in LA, and I went to the one in downtown LA, and it was pretty neat. It was in like this theater-like area. And so I told them, hey, I need to replace my battery. I think it was $69. I'll post the actual price once I check. But it was, I'd say, a pretty good price for, making your phone brand new again. And at that point, it was already 3 years since the phone was released. I mean, I got the phone a few months after it was released. And yeah, so they replaced the battery. For those 2 hours, I just strolled around downtown LA, which honestly I would not recommend. But I'm just biased. I think downtown Chicago is much better. Anywho, they replaced my battery, and then I noticed the speaker wasn't working. And I knew before that my speaker was working. I mean, I take meticulous care of my cell phone. Like, I was using this life-proof case. It's great, This covers even the speaker ports, so there's no dust getting into the speaker. So I knew it wasn't me. So I just tell them, and they're like, oh, let's fix that. They couldn't figure it out. So they messed up with the speaker somehow. So they just gave me another iPhone XS, and took that old one. And this one had a good battery, obviously. So it was because it was new. So since August of 2021 until now, I've been using the second iPhone XS that they gave me. Exact same specification, 64 gigabyte gold. But yeah, that's the story. Anywho, everything is snappy, everything is fast. I have no complaints with this phone besides the battery and the storage. And if you are very into cameras, then maybe the camera. But for me, I mean, I use the camera a lot, but I don't think it's not a bad camera at all. So to conclude, would I recommend the iPhone XS or XS Max in 2022? 100% yes. It's a great phone. And you could probably get it for a really good price now since it's a little bit older. But yeah, I'd recommend it. Now, I still upgrade it to the next, to the 14 Pro Max, but if, let's say I didn't upgrade, I'd be totally fine with this phone. So yeah, if you're an iPhone XS user or are thinking about getting the iPhone XS, comment below. I'd love to hear it. And if you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that like button and subscribe so this video can get to more people. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.